we use Google Maps, right? We're using our phone. We don't use the Melways. People are like, what the heck, Melways? I don't even remember hearing that word. For like 20 years, my dad, where we're driving, used to pick up this Melways that was like 115 kilos. And he'd just flip pages and he'd find exactly where we are on the map and he'd have to memorize it. Then when we go in there, in his mind, he had to remember what he'd read on the page because he's not going to stop every time. We don't do that. How do you remember someone's number nowadays? It's not back in the days you had to actually keep it in mind and say, okay, wait, that's such and such.
Yeah.
2021 now, this generation, the general population, whoever's listening to this, you may or may not be included, but I feel like we, as a species, and I don't mean me and you and everyone, but as a species, we are just getting dumber.
A big part.
A big part of us.
Some are very smart. But
Oh man, no doubt. In fact, I would say that there's like there's the ones that are actually just thriving, and then there's majority of the people which actually are just like getting dumber for. I mean, there's a lot of reasons which we
big
got
gap
listed.
between I think 95% people are getting real dumber.
Real dumber.
Or maybe because
Hold
they're
on a
not using-
second. Can we just real dumber?
What's wrong with real dumber?
That bro.
What's wrong with real dumber?
Are we gonna have to change the title of this podcast to a person's name? Either it's a lot dumber, real dumber.
What's wrong with real dumber? Real dumb.
You're getting real dumber.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Anyway.
So then
Yeah.
I'm not here to sit and take English lessons from you, okay?
Well, you should at this, right?
So,
Should it be pop?
Pop, pop,
Yeah.
pop.
So no, totally. I think the first one we want to write about is like. So as I listened to like a couple, podcasts in the past, and I never really thought about it. It's like, hey man, everyone's complaining. Like, not complaining. People go, man, look at our generation. We're getting a lot of dementia. We're getting a lot of people with memory issues. And like, well, hold on a second. We just made a funny reel, or we think it's funny on like. Well, when's the last time we actually have to actively use our brain? Because we've got. All right, question time.
Caution time.
Okay.
All right.
Whenever you want to get somewhere, do you just like open up, this white pages or yellow pages or whatever these maps are, or like, do you just like, how do you get to the places that you want to go?
I think about it and I'm there.
That's what I do too, but most people don't, right?
All right. The most people use Google Maps.
Let's talk about humans on the planet Earth, because
Google
we are
Apple Maps. Apple Maps is shit. Google Maps.
Apple Maps, Apple Maps,
Apple Maps. Google Maps.
Cackle Pass.
Ah, fuck's sake. Google Maps. So your point, we come back to the point. People.
The tip of the spear. The point.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, guy. Yeah.
No, you're making the point.
Those
Google Maps.
the jokes. No. Yeah. Google, we use Google Maps, right? We're using our phone. We don't use the Melways. People are like, what the heck, Melways? I don't even remember hearing that word. For like 20 years, my dad, where we're driving, used to pick up this Melways that was like 115 kilos. And he'd just flip pages and he'd find exactly where we are on the map and he'd have to memorize it. Then when we go in there, in his mind, he had to remember what he'd read on the page because he's not going to stop every time. We don't do that. How do you remember someone's number nowadays? It's not back in the days you had to actually keep it in mind and say, okay, wait, that's such and such.
Yeah.
We said it this morning. I only remember my dad's, my mum's, and my number. That's it. And there's a lot of examples like this.
Yeah. We just have the numbers saved. So, and if you get lost without a phone, it'll be hard for you to call anyone if you don't remember any numbers. Some people don't remember any numbers. And
I think, yeah.
like the dependency on tech has increased, which has helped save our time a lot, but it is also stopping us to use our brain is a muscle and it's the biggest, brain consumes the most energy in your body than anything else. So it's the biggest energy consuming
Not
muscle.
anymore. But
It
yeah.
still consumes a lot, but now you're putting that energy into
You know what
thinking
I
about
mean.
where you should and all that. But it's a muscle and you're not using it to think of like not flexing it to use to memorize or
Flex.
remember something
Yeah.
or anything. So it's just going into like
Nice.
it's not used to it. So by the time we're getting older,
exactly.
we don't remember things.
I think our
We
brains.
don't try as well to remember things.
I think our brains used to be the original place to store data, and so it had to
Yeah.
become. It had to. We were relying on it,
Yeah.
and it was being trained to be like, hey, okay, you need this piece of information. It's here. It's ready. Okay, you need the number. You need the information. How to get here. How to get there. Okay,
Yeah.
you want to calculate. Perfect.
You want to cook something, these ingredients are everything is in here.
Literally.
And now, sorry, our phones are our extension. Like we're cyborg. Elon Musk said that we're already kind of a cyborg because
Yeah.
we store all the data in there, and we don't store much here. But as much it's helping us, it's also like making us so much reliant on that. That
Yeah.
if you don't have that, your brain is pretty much empty, and you don't have much working on there.
We're literally the thing I think is like I think the way that it's good because it's not a bad thing that we have calculators and we've got
Yeah.
it saves us time.
Yeah.
You know, Google Maps saves us time. We know the time, real time traffic, all these sorts of things. Like we don't even have to calculate how much we have to pay when we go. We used to have to carry cash and say,
Yeah.
okay, how many coins do we need to give you back? Oh, I don't know. Do I have enough? Now it's just tap, paid, done, ready. Everything's done,
Yeah.
which is cool. But I think that could be a really good tool when we have other things that we need to fill our brains with
Yeah.
so that we can just completely focus there. But if you're not doing that, then you're literally just leaving your brain completely untrained.
Yeah.
And then, like, because nowadays, you know, they say that dementia, you know what dementia is, right?
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, dementia is just naturally when the brain starts to literally break down,
Leave the chat.
leave the chat. And it's really sad. Like, you know, your parents will start to forget your name and forget who you are. And it's not necessarily an actual disease that just happens because it does. It's something that, you know, we can really play a part in avoiding because, you know, yeah, there are going to be the select few where
Yeah.
what you do can't necessarily help it altogether, but we can even prolong it
Mm-hmm.
by training the brain, man. It just hasn't been used. So it's just collecting dust,
Yeah.
collects dust that withers away. And that's why I think a lot of people are just getting dumber, but we already spoke about that. We don't even need to remember birthdays. Next is not only what we don't fill our brains with, but what we do
Yeah.
fill
So
our brains
important information has been replaced by just stupid information which is not relevant to your any growth or anything. Like if you go on social media, everything is stupid TikToks, like people jumping, doing
Dun, 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 dun. I'm trying to do that song.
whatever, like
Shuffle
put
songs.
your hands on my shoulder.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a song like that everyone's just like,
Yeah, so it's not gonna give you any input or nothing to save or think or remember about, and nothing to. It's just entertainment going in your brain, and it's nothing that.
Nothing wrong with entertainment.
Yeah, but when it's just entertainment, then you don't use that part of the brain to remember something. So if you don't use anything with even go to electronics, if you don't use something for a long time, it's not gonna be performing the best.
I always look at it like and I always say the same example, so I'll change it. I believe that our brains, imagine your brain is a bucket, yeah? And let's say we just need, you know, this bucket is going to get filled with water.
Yeah.
And let's say the contents in that bucket is just like ultimately how our brain's working. If it's dirty, if it's muddy, it's not going to work very well, right? And so anytime you start pouring anything that'll make it cloudy or muddy or dirty, the water's no longer clear, it's no longer how it should be, it's not pure. And I think like when we don't think about these things, like we're trying to have the best working brain that works well, and we can be mentally healthy, we can be, you know, thinking quickly, communicating quickly.
Yeah.
But we're filling this bucket with dirty water, which is constantly clouding everything in there, and all of a sudden we no longer have that ability because it's just, well, all right, well, fair enough. Yeah, you want social media, you want to watch movies. That's actually all right, completely fine. But how much of that? And actually, you know, are you putting anything else in there to? Because the saying you've heard of garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yeah.
So if the garbage comes in, the garbage is going to come out.
Yeah.
People wonder why are they not where they want to be, and not even like to be a successful millionaire, but why are you just not even happy? Well, what are you putting in your brain, man? Is that shit gonna relate to you being happy, to you being smarter, more knowledgeable?
Yeah.
That's why all the top people say, hey, read books, because that's the information. When it comes out, it's like, oh, knowledge.
Yeah, and also it makes you like use your brain more when you're reading it. You have to imagine few things, and then you have to get lost in it. So you, instead of, well, podcasts and stuff are good, but books have a different meaning in the sense of making your brain more actively, because you're using your visual side, and then you're imagining few things. So like I was reading this book this morning with Sabri Subi's earlier life, and I was imagining around that area. But if I just listen, I might still imagine, but the imagination with reading is a bit different. You get more involved when you're looking at it and reading
Makes
every
sense.
word, and that's why this podcast and stuff which also comes into the thing. Like we are listening to a lot of information all the time, but we always have our headphones on, but we're not storing anything, because it's just passive listening. It's not active listening.
Yeah.
So you just have it in, and then you're doing your work, everything else, and then you think you're learning something or finding out something, but there's no storage there. So it's like a flash memory. Just put things in, and it just goes in from there and goes out from there. So nothing is being stored.
So many things there I feel to unpack. It's like, the story with and it may be on the way that you're explaining it may be different to it, but I think it's also part of it. So do you know the story of the teacher? I forget now whether, anyway, let's say monk school or something like that, and this student goes to his teacher and says, I feel like I've learnt everything there is here, and I'm done, and I've got to leave. And he's sitting down with the teacher, and the teacher just looks at him, and he's got this already full cup of tea. You know this one, right? And so as the teacher is talking to the student, he's now pouring more hot water into this already full cup.
Yeah.
And the water's just overflowing, and it goes everywhere. And the student's looking at him like, is this guy crazy?
Yeah.
And moral of the story is the student's looking at him, what are you doing? He's like, you're like this cup.
Yeah.
And
you're full to what you can take, and then
I cannot teach you anything more because you already are full and have nothing less to absorb. And so I think that we're already in a generation that feel like they have so much knowledge everywhere, that not only is it that they need to learn more, but they feel like they know everything and they have everything at their hands, so they won't even accept to learn more, because they're like, I'll just go here, go Google, go there. I don't even need to listen to you.
Yeah. I was one day, I think you know this person I was speaking to one day.
I already know.
About like how dumber we are compared to the people, like those who came up with electricity and radio and FM frequency. Do we even know how they work still at this point after so long, with so much internet? Like, do we even know how they work? How do we know how the first line of code worked? Do we know how so many other libraries on code work? Do we know how these things talking to each other? If imagine only, like, I think not even 2% people actually know the depth of how these things actually work from where to where, because whoever learned after only knows on the layer of top. Nobody knows the deep layer. So if those percent of people are dead or whatever happens to them, and everything shuts down,
what do we do?
Yeah, we have to go back, and like the growth will go back hundreds and thousands of years to build up everything again. And I was speaking to this one person. I said, like, do you realize how much we don't know about these things? How much we use our phone and we don't know how it's working? Reliant. And this person was so confident and naive at the same time, was saying that, yeah, I can make a radio. I can do this. Like something like so much confident in them that they can do this. But you can do this by looking at steps. But how did they work? How do you know how they work? What's your pattern of thinking? How do you get to that conclusion?
In other words,
if there's no Google, how did you know how to make?
So if like everything was wiped out and we had to start again,
Yeah.
because we still don't even really know what we don't even know.
Yeah.
We are in we're in a place that has so much that we think we're like, oh yeah, you've got everything for granted. So, but we're not we don't even know. We just is a manual.
No, nothing.
That's why we
even know how this mic works. We know how this camera is able to record us. What sensor works, like how it's taking that in and not inverting it, keeping it straight, and like how is this?
How the hell did they create? And this actually mind boggles me. How did they create another eye? How did you create something to capture what we see?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know
get
a
it.
little bit, but it's a lot. How they made it that much detail.
It's just like, yeah, but I get exactly what you're saying. And I think that's right, man. Like I think we are in like such a place where not only do we have so much, so we're not even reliant on having to learn, but we don't put any of it to use. It's just filling our mind. It's just coming in. It's like a water slide, just water coming in and out. It's
Yeah.
not staying anywhere.
Yeah,
So I definitely feel like, and I think the reason that we even talk about this is because we're worried that what's gonna happen. Like, I don't know about you. I wouldn't even want to have kids in this generation where it's at,
Yeah.
man. Like, it doesn't matter how much hard work and effort I put into them. I know they're gonna have to live with a lot of other people that, sad to say, are heavily misinformed. I don't know. I just don't see this going to anywhere good.
I literally spoke to one person at my work. They gave birth to a new child, and she said like, I don't know what brought my kid into this world. Like,
Man, already like even the baby boomers, right? Which is what, 60s?
yeah,
And I speak to many at work and whatnot. They say they're like, man, I feel sorry for you guys, and I'm like, thank you. I feel sorry for whoever's next. I feel sorry for the Gen Z, is that what they call them, right? Like,
I think it would have been evolutionary, but this
yeah,
last
for sure.
2-3 years too much. And
It's like before it was like a small flame that was lighting along. Now it's a forest fire. The expansion rate is just so, but it's not good expansion. That's the problem, right? It's because it's gone so quick. They don't know how to actually really handle what's happening.
yeah,
And so I feel like that's why everything has just gone so out of proportion. But I feel like that's going to lead into another topic.
yeah.
But
Thank you. Yeah,
technically, yeah, I think it's just that, hey, man, we have so many tools at our hand and we don't use it the right way. And we neglect using our own brains
yeah,
to really rely on having to think, to having to calculate, to having to, look at something and make a decision. We don't even need to make a decision anymore, man. We open up our apps and all of a sudden we say, what do I want for food? I don't know. Uber Eats. Even there we struggle to make a decision.
Yeah.
So like, we just need to, I think the solution is simply to say, okay, I'm going to purposely think. I'm going to purposely use my brain.
Yeah.
And also maybe just deciding, you know what? I'm probably going to cut out a little bit of that entertainment here and replace that with a little bit of, and it doesn't have to be extraordinary, 20 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day of just a little bit, and you start from there. And yeah, I think that's where we need to go though.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know.
Future is bright.
Should we just like do we just quit the podcast?
Future is bright.
No, we don't. That's why we're doing this, like,
One day we'll wake up and everything will be good.
amen. Yeah, I think ultimately, man, that's why we're doing, I don't know about you, but my mission, like everyone has like, so I think my mission statement is to actually help the generation become healthier, happier, and more successful. Those are the words that I tell myself with my vision board, right? And that's why we're doing this. And we all know it was always like this. Every generation had something to take them away, but I feel like now it's just becoming so much harder.
Yeah.
So much harder. But here we are. 2021, we're trying to make a difference. And
China?
I said we're trying to make a difference. Do I have to enunciate better? Yeah, the late Sean Connery. I've got to do Sean Connery now.
All right.
You don't like this accent, do you?
It's all right.
Who's that? Do you want to do Bane? Can you do Bane?
I can do Batman.
We were born to darkness, Batman. We were born into
Shut up,
darkness.
Ben. Shut up. Why did you take that name?
Hulk
Why
smash!
did you say that name?
Oh, this just turned around. Hey, were we just talking about our generation getting number? All right, man. This is it, man. What do I'm curious to see what everyone's thoughts are on this, and maybe even if you have like I'm sure that this goes into people's mind, like what's going to happen to us because of where we are with technology. Technology is good, but again, the way we use it. If you have any thoughts or ideas or anything that runs through your mind, send me a DM, send us a DM on Instagram from Sofa to Success. Put it in the comment section. But just curious to know where your thoughts are with this, because it's something that I don't think we take enough time to really think about. We take it for granted.
Yep. Yep. And if you have any thing you see is positive in the coming generations with the use of mind, like there's a lot of positives as well, which we can talk about. But according to the memory, what's the positives that you see, or in the schools you're watching, there's some programs and stuff. Let us know, educate us, and we'll know as well. Like, okay, these are some things they're doing, and they'll be good. Ciao.